As part of effort geared towards promoting transparency, accountability, and efficiency in all sectors of the nation's governance, the African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development this Tuesday in Abuja launched a mobile and web app for mining host communities across the country to monitor, track, and report on the implementation of the recently revised Community Development Agreement in their respective communities. As Clayview's Gloria Turner reports, the tool will not only ensure host communities receive maximum benefit from mining explorations, but will also strengthen existing relationships between mining companies and their host communities.
For many years now, Nigeria has had a history of recurring confrontations between oil, gas, and solid mineral mining companies and host communities over differentials relating to the social and economic benefits of natural resource extraction, as well as the ecological and environmental destruction associated with such extractions. In a bid to address these challenges, the federal government in 2014, through the then Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, drafted a community development agreement for companies and host communities to close existing gaps and redress poverty and underdevelopment associated with mining explorations in the country, as well as ensure the steady growth and development of the sector, as stipulated in the Nigerian Mineral and Mining Act 2007. However, despite these guidelines, challenges such as non-compliance by host communities and mining companies persisted. Again, in November 2023, the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, in Abuja, unveiled the new revised guidelines for producing community development agreements in the sector, geared towards redefining and strengthening existing relationships as well as transforming Nigeria's solid mineral sector. In a bid to ensure that the newly revised CDA guidelines are followed to the latter, the African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development this Tuesday in Abuja launched a mobile and web app for mining host communities across the country to monitor, track and report on its implementation.
We felt that, yes, we have reviewed the CDA, but how do we also get feelers from host community people in terms of how the CDA is performing at the local level? So what we did was to develop a host community app which will be used by everybody. The media can also use it. Everybody can use it to make sure we track progress. What is the level of development that is now going to mineral-bearing communities as a result of the new guidelines that has come up? So people have the opportunity now to make complaints. Where there is need for commendation, you also comment. Where there are issues going on in mining host communities, you can easily go to the app and put down your complaints. And those complaints are not just going to be put there. It will give us opportunity to advance it to the policymakers who will not take action.
In his keynote address, the executive founder of the center, Dr. Otive Igbuzo, and other stakeholders bear their minds on the need for decent and responsible mining practices that will ensure sustainable development and prevent environmental degradation in the country.
Nigeria can learn from successful models on sustainable mining in other countries and focus on mitigation of environmental impact, promotion of CSR, and implementation of CDAs. Strengthening of regulatory frameworks with emphasis on implementation. As the director has said earlier, there are laws, effective good laws governing the sector. The problem is implementation and ensuring that mining companies embrace CSR and full implementation of CDAs.
Companies commit to carry out certain obligations and they don't do it. You have a chief who sits high there and dictates what happens. All we can do as regulators is to sensitize, to preach, and to appeal to their conscience. And what happens when we go back Most of them are the rulers. Their subjects cannot do anything. But then when there's so much voices like that, when there's so much collaboration, when it's coming from the regulators, civil society are into this, collectively, then we have a better Nigeria.
One of the greatest problems that was noticed around the country was that women didn't have a seat at the table while negotiating the CDAs in many communities. They didn't have a seat at the table. And so you could see how the ladies there were advocating. They were talking about the problems that they faced. Now, if such women had a seat at the table while the CDAs are discussed, they will be more able to put forward their plight and ask for what would help them.
It's opening up a dialogue on marginal fields for mining host communities so that we can improve on their poverty alleviation, get more revenue, add it to the CDA and CSR, something corporate that mining companies will do.
Other high points of the event was the premiere of a documentary aimed at amplifying the voices of men and women in mining communities, as well as the launch of a research report on the efficacy of CDAs in mining host communities. Gloria Atta, reporting for Clearview News.